Welcome to the Ask Golf Guru channel. If you're not subscribed to this channel, remember this isn't my regular channel that you might see me on. It's my Ask Golf Guru one, and it's Have Your Say time. I've put a Instagram's turn today post out. We're going to talk about something that Tyrrell Hatton has said during the PGA, so the USPGA Championships, which is happening right now at the point of filming this video. And if you're watching this in the future, happened obviously earlier on in the year. Tyrrell obviously very vocal with opinions on courses, it seems, or certainly if he definitely gets quoted a lot. And this is what he said, so we're going to let you have your opinion. He said the PGA and the USGA seem to be in a bit of a fight about who's got the longest golf course and who's got the longest par 3. It would be nice if they were a bit more creative rather than just trying to make it hard through length all the time. Tyrrell Hatton. That's what Tyrrell has quoted in saying. I posted this on my Instagram, so let's hear what you've got to say. First off, a bit of housekeeping, which I got to apologise for here. Jamie has said, cropping out the original creator's logo, very poor show, Mark Crossfield, which I would agree with, and I apologise for, Jamie. I actually didn't crop out the logo. This has spun around many accounts online. I just copied it and then posted it. So I think Jamie, when I looked on his feed there, he works for Bunkered, which is a UK based, I think, podcast and website, maybe magazine as well. So check them out, Bunkered. I think they're called Bunkered. And I've messaged him just saying, look, I'm sorry, I will edit this. So a little bit of housekeeping there. I agree, Jamie, and I apologise. That was never my intention. Ian Fraser Golf here, so you might know Ian Fraser from TXG, says, I think it's a very fair comment. Obviously in the comments down below of this video, let me know what you think. In my post, when I posted this, I obviously also pointed out that I understand that coming from Tyrrell's mouth will bring its own heat, because Tyrrell definitely has a little bit of a history of being maybe quite vocal in his opinions. I think as well, I think this is an interesting thing. You can let me know what you think it is. I think Tyrrell's really English. I mean, he's an English golfer, but he's just... He's English. He wears his heart on his sleeve. He says what he wants. He says what he feels. In the UK, I don't see what he's saying as, I think, more than just... I mean, this is what golfers sound like in the UK. So I do wonder if there's a little bit of that crosses over. I don't know. Maybe you let me know. It's 100% correct. Chat_PZ says 100% correct. I mean, the par 3s, I think we've got one this week without me checking the actual yardage, is like 250 something yards, and there's definitely been a pattern of one par 3 being, you know, crazy long. And I also would agree with Tyrrell, and I'm sure other golfers are saying this. He's just the one that's been, you know, saying it and getting, you know, publicly and maybe getting quoted. You know, you can be so much more creative, as some of your comments go on to say, with par 3s than just adding length. Agree, 100% accurate. So lots of love. Didn't like Tyrrell, but he's on the ball. Having 250-yard par 3s and 520-yard long par 4s makes no sense and isn't enjoyable to play or watch, Darcy says. So Darcy's agreeing. I mean, Darcy as well obviously isn't playing, because you would never play off those tees if you got to play there. Often the tournament tees, certainly in majors, I remember playing Pinehurst number 2, and it was like the 3rd or the 4th, a par 4, where the tournament tee was like miles back. And when we went and looked at it, I don't think it was even really that cared for, because obviously they just didn't want people going off it. It was there if they needed it. So I think that's something to bear in mind. But obviously he doesn't enjoy watching them play those as well, which I can understand also. Yes, slopes, rough and bunkers, he's saying, which is obviously a really good way of he is completely right, 100% fair. I mean, it's real, lots of love for this statement, and Tyrrell does get heat for saying things that maybe he shouldn't say, but he's getting a lot of love for this. It's totally fair. Who could possibly object to this? Doesn't help whose mouth it's come from. A bit valid, bit valid in my opinion. I'm not sure what that quite means, but yeah, and that's he's. I think Tyrrell shoots himself in the foot, or I don't know if it's a mixture of Tyrrell shooting himself in the foot or the media help him do it, because they can help others not do it. You know, I posted something around Tiger asking a cameraman to back off, and you know, I know when I post that, lots of people are going to be pushing back on that, which is fine and great. But if Tyrrell was the person saying that in the clip, maybe check my Instagram feed out at Crossfield Mark, you'll see it on there. There would be a lot more hate. And if you look at the comments of when Tiger says it, it's all fine because people love Tiger, which I understand. But it does feel quite a lot at the moment in golf, and I'm sure in other things. It's often not a discussion about what is said or what is the action that's happened. It's a little bit more of a discussion about the person who said it, and if they like that person or not, then their opinions are aired, possibly. Again, what do you think? Let me know. Fair, there's so much more to golf than distance. How about thicker rough, smaller greens, 2 simple ones for starters? Extremely fair comment. Having to hit a very specific spot from 150, 160 yards can be just as difficult having to hit a massive target from 230. Everyone is scared of distance in golf. That's the panic by lengthening course. Bad move. And it's a good point. I mean, one of the big moves with golf course, and we called it, and people called it maybe tiger proofing, didn't they, was, and I never got this, and I've said this in many occasions to people, I've said it on podcasts, and I've said it, when you've got a long hitter, and I know this because I've only really competed against long hitters every part of my life as I grew up playing competitive golf. I was always playing against, generally the best players were longer. That's why they were the best. But I was trying to compete with them and sometimes did. I wanted to play on a short course, not a long course, to make it easier for a more rounded skill set. I actually wanted the holes to be less long, not more long. The longer they were, it just played into the longer hitters. Like, they just gained more of an advantage than they already had one. And I never quite understood that when courses just think that going to length is the answer for the problem of, if you agree that there's a problem, that length in golf is a problem. Which I'm not saying it is, because I think that's still a much bigger debate. But definitely making it longer plays into the hands of the longer hitter. 250-yard par 3, I'm hitting a 3-wood. Lots of these tour players would be hitting a long iron or a hybrid. I hit my hybrids closer to the hole on average than I hit my 3-wood. They've got an advantage by being longer. Making that hole shorter, so if they're hitting a 9 and I'm hitting an 8, yeah, their dispersion is closer on average, but you're going to get far more outliers with my 7-iron, 8-iron than I will with my 3-wood. I'm going to get 1 or 2 outliers. With my 7-iron, on a good patch of a run over 4 days, I could hit it inside people's 9-irons. And obviously you could with the longer clubs as well, but I do feel like it would, it makes it a little bit more of an even playing field for more skill sets than just whacking loads of length on it. Now do the comment where he rude word on the conditions of the green. So definitely, you see what I mean, people are, he said some things about the green. I think he said it at Augusta, did he, where he said that the greens were bumpy, or he didn't say bumpy, but just not fair. I mean, they're silly complexes. So obviously people then do hang on to that. And then you've got, no one wants to hit 3-wood on a par 3. Well, I mean, lots of us actually do, don't we? If you think about it, lots of us amateurs and pros, the amateurs I teach and pros that I play with, they kind of do have to hit those kind of clubs on par 3s, like a lot. So lots of really interesting questions. I would love to know your opinions. I think the general consensus is that people are actually on the side of Tyrrell there. I think any other golfer, barring Bryson, says that. JT says that. Tiger says that. I mean, it's whatever Tiger says, it's just a given. You've got those more neutral golfers. If they come out and say that, it actually then starts entering, I think, to a much more positive conversation. Not saying that wasn't positive, because I think most of that was actually positive in agreement with what Tyrrell said. Let me know what you think. I do think it's funny that, I saw a report from James Ridyard. I think it was at the event. He's a golf coach that I follow on Instagram. If you want to give someone a good follow who knows what they're on about, definitely give James Ridyard a follow. I think he posted somewhere that there were basically lots of tees where you had to hit over greens. So they'd move tees back to give this course length where you have to hit over greens. So he was saying we're going to get lots of slow rounds, and they've just made it brutally long. I just think it's really strange that they take it possibly to a course which looks fantastic and people are saying is amazing, and I'm not saying it isn't, but then they put tees in there that just are not really meant to be there. And I don't know if they've done that, or, I mean, you can't imagine one of the best courses, and of course everyone's waxing lyrical over, is hitting tee shots over greens. I mean, that just sounds ridiculous to me. And it's just, well, my point is, it seems a shame that they've had to do that to make this course hit a certain yardage, which possibly isn't even added to the event. And then the other thing with the tee length as well is then people relate it to score. There's lots of ways of keeping that score down if score is what they want to protect. Again, I'm not saying they need to protect score. I don't care what the score is personally. If they're shooting 22 under par total winner, well, you could argue maybe the par isn't quite right, but obviously the par's got to be 70 or above on these courses for some reason. You see what I mean? It's just this relationship to par that the golf world seems to want to have is maybe a little bit destructive, you could argue. So a few more comments here then, because we've got loads on this. Just another elite guy not good enough. Seems a little harsh. It's fair comment. Everyone is entitled to an opinion. Yeah, we know that, surely. But then he also complains it's too hard to hit the short shots at Augusta. So again, that's the get out, really. If you don't want to have this conversation, it's definitely, you can just say that the guy says some crazy stuff. That's America for you. While it's a fair comment, it would carry more weight if he didn't seem to complain about everything. Matt Willigo, which I understand and agree, and kind of made that point as well, I would say. But again, I just see it as like us English, we can be a little bit whingy. Like, it's just, it's a little bit how we are. I just think he's honest, basically. I reckon lots are thinking it, and I think lots haven't got the guts or don't see the point in saying it. It doesn't help their brand amongst the public. Where Tyrrell, I think, again, English player, heart on his sleeve, he's not really trying to massage his brand. He's happy with what he's earning. He feels blessed that he's probably as skilled as he is, and he's just going to be honest, which in lots of ways, and I'm not in any way like a massive Tyrrell Hatton fan. I'm pretty neutral with Tyrrell. I think he's a fantastic player. But I do like the fact that he says things that he thinks. Like, that's quite good in a modern day sports world. He's not wrong. There is no great long par threes. The famous ones are not long just to be long, and that's referring, someone else earlier on, I think, referred to like the 12th at Augusta and things like that. Here we go. Hardest hole at Augusta, arguably the 12th. Length doesn't always have to be the answer. The hardest hole at Augusta, in the comments, anyone can guess what it is year on year. Without me checking my stats, when I checked before the last Masters, I'm pretty sure it's the 10th plays the hardest, which, believe it or not. And again, it's not based on length, is it? Because they're not like struggling to reach that hole. It's based on many factors, which can have, is related to length, as in if you're too far back, that green's impossible to hit because of the slope on it. A couple more then. We've got Hatton is on point. I would say that is basically the overriding point here, and this point as well. It's a fair comment. I wish Hatton wasn't so afraid to share his opinion on things. Totally agree. I like Hatton, but he is a complainer. Yeah, well, he is, and I love him for that. I love a good complainer, because if we all had, like, if golf was just full up of, I don't know, Justin Thomases, not that Justin Thomas isn't great, but, there's more neutral people who are just not really giving you them. They're kind of maybe on the course, and this isn't a judgment because I get why they're doing it. They have a barrier to protect you from seeing them because there's lots of money around them. No difference to a member of shop staff who works for a big company late on the shop floor and wants to tell you to get out or stop being silly, but no, they can't, because they're kind of representing a bigger brand, so they stay being polite. I almost see it like that, where I see Tyrrell as is Tyrrell more the store owner, or you come in and you're rude or you say something that's a bit outrageous and he just says, can you sling your up? Just sling your up. I don't care if I sell you anything, just out you go. I wonder if Tyrrell Hatton has ever been described like that. What do you reckon? Have your say down in the comments down below. I'd love to hear. Just continue the thread on. Instagram definitely is much more on the side of his ideas. I think it is a funny idea with the PGA and the US PGA or the PGA Tour, and then the it's the PGA Tour and the PGA and the USGA. Sorry. And the other thing as well with the USGA is that the USGA obviously seem to be wanting everyone off forward tees, or certainly, you know, play it forward campaign and stuff. So I think there's such mixed messages that go out when we see these tournaments played from these kind of tees. And also, again, to Bunkered, I think it is Bunkered. If it is, let me know. Hopefully he'll message me back and I will edit the post if it does come from them. Jamie Hall, Nightfall, agree, apologise, sorry. Hopefully this video helps with a little bit more exposure and what have you. Not that you need that from me, I don't mean it like that, but I do apologise. And great posts from Bunkered, by the way. Post comments down below, let me know what you think. Is Tyrrell right? Is he wrong? Does he whinge too much? Is he too English? Or is he the store owner who wants you to sling your up when you're a bit annoying? Let me know.